The night had a silence that was both comforting and unsettling. The kind of silence that makes you feel safe, yet also makes every little sound louder than it should be. I lay still in bed, my eyes closed, the faint rhythm of my breathing slow and even, just as it would be if I were lost in sleep. But I wasn't asleep. I hadn't been for a long time. The room was dim, the curtains pulled together, allowing only a faint glow from the street lamp outside to creep in. The shadows on the wall shifted softly, and I found myself watching them behind the shield of closed eyelids. My heart wasn't racing yet, but there was a strange awareness inside me, a kind of whisper in my chest telling me not to drift off. That was when I heard it, the careful sound of footsteps. Not loud, not rushed, but slow, measured, too deliberate for someone who believed they were alone. I felt the weight of his presence, the shift in the mattress earlier when he had lain down beside me, and now the absence of it as he moved away. I didn't stir, kept perfectly still. My body relaxed in a way that felt rehearsed, as if I had done this before. My breathing stayed steady, slow, even though I could feel the tiny tremor of curiosity in my chest. He thought I was asleep. I could sense it in the way he moved, in the way he paused now and then, maybe glancing toward me, making sure I hadn't shifted or opened my eyes. 1,000 thoughts began to turn in my mind. Why was he up at this hour? What could possibly need his attention when the whole world outside was drowned in silence? I listened harder, tuning myself to every sound. The creak of the wooden floor, the faint scrape of something being moved, the soft rustle of fabric. These were ordinary sounds perhaps, but at that moment, they felt drenched in secrecy. I remembered the way he had smiled earlier, how casually he had said good night, how easily he had drifted into silence as though the night were nothing but routine. But something inside me told me this wasn't routine at all. The air in the room felt heavier now. I wanted to open my eyes, to demand an explanation, to break the fragile veil of pretense that hung between us. But instead I stayed still. It was safer this way. Safer to watch without being seen. And so I waited. He moved again, more carefully this time. He was sure I was asleep. Completely sure. But he was wrong. The floor groaned softly under his weight as he crossed the room. I could picture him in the half-darkness, moving slowly, each step placed with care, as though even the air might betray him if he wasn't careful. My ears strained, desperate to catch every detail. A drawer slid open with the faintest sound. My stomach tightened. That drawer wasn't his, it was mine. I wanted to bolt upright to ask him what he was looking for, but my body stayed frozen in the posture of sleep. His hands moved through the drawer with quiet precision. I could almost feel the vibrations as objects shifted under his touch. Papers, a small notebook, a piece of jewelry. Things that were mine, private. I felt exposed, as though the very core of my life was being turned over under his fingers. My breaths came slower now, not from calmness, but from control. I couldn't let him sense the truth. I couldn't let him know that I was awake, that I was watching, that I was learning what kind of person he became when he thought no one was looking. Then came a pause. Silence. The kind that stretches too long, pressing against your nerves until it nearly breaks you. I heard the soft sound of something being unfolded. Paper perhaps. Letter. A page he wasn't meant to see. He lingered on it, reading in the quiet. The thought of his eyes scanning my words, my secrets, my thoughts, filled me with a slow burning anger. But still I stayed still. The silence of my body was my only weapon. After a while he placed the paper back, but not exactly where it had been. I would remember that. Every detail mattered now. He moved on, checking more. His actions weaving a map of intentions I didn't yet understand. And then, in the stillness of the room, I heard him whisper. Just a fragment of words, so soft that I almost thought I had imagined it. But I hadn't. His voice was low, almost trembling, carrying a weight I couldn't decipher. What was he hiding? What was he searching for? The room seemed colder now, though nothing had changed except my knowledge of him. He was not simply restless. He was not simply awake. He was deliberate, secretive, careful. And all the while he was certain, absolutely certain that I was asleep. But I wasn't. I saw everything. I heard everything. And I would remember it all. Time stretched unnaturally, each second dragging on like an eternity. Lying there, motionless, I felt the weight of silence press against me. My eyelids remained lowered, my body perfectly still, but inside my mind was wide awake, racing with questions that had no answers. Who was this man I thought I knew so well? Someone who could share a bed, a meal, a laugh with me during the day, and then when darkness fell, move around like a stranger, rifling through things that weren't his, whispering words never meant for my ears. My chest rose and fell in practiced rhythm, but beneath it, my heart drummed an uneven beat. Fear, curiosity, and anger mixed together, each one louder than the last. Part of me wanted to end it right there, to open my eyes and confront him, to demand to know what he was doing and why. But another part whispered, "Not yet." I thought of the little moments I had overlooked. The times he had come home later than expected, the messages he never explained, the way he sometimes stared at nothing as though lost in thought. Small fragments of unease, scattered through days and weeks, now piecing together into something far larger. Lying there I felt both powerless and powerful. Powerless because I couldn't move without revealing myself, and powerful because he had no idea that I was watching. He believed I was blind to him, and that gave me an advantage I had never held before. Every sound became sharper. The slow drag of his footsteps, the faint rustle of fabric, even the way his breath shifted when he found something that mattered to him. I tried to decode it all, building a picture of his secret world without opening my eyes. I imagined the possibilities. What if he was hiding something dangerous? What if he was planning something against me? Or was it guilt, shame, something personal he couldn't share? The more I thought, the more my chest tightened with dread. I knew one thing with certainty. After tonight, nothing would be the same. I would never again lie down beside him with the same trust, never again close my eyes without wondering what he might do. So I stayed still, watching without watching, listening without responding, letting the truth reveal itself piece by piece. And as he continued, unaware of the eyes behind closed lids, I made my decision. I wouldn't stop pretending. Not yet. Not until I knew everything. The quiet stretched until it nearly broke me. I heard him close the drawer, heard the soft scrape of the chair as he sat down. For a moment I thought he was done, that he would slip back into bed and all of this would fade into the fragile shell of memory. But then he spoke. It wasn't to me, not directly. His voice was soft, meant only for himself, perhaps for someone far away in his mind. "I can't let her know," he whispered. The words were barely audible, but they hit me like a thunderclap. He meant me. The air in the room seemed to vanish. My lungs worked harder just to keep up the steady rhythm of sleep. Every instinct screamed at me to rise, to confront, to break the silence. But I didn't move. He continued, speaking to himself, words tumbling out in fragments. Pieces of a confession, but not complete enough to understand. Names I didn't recognize. Apologies whispered into the dark. A plan, perhaps, or a memory. Unclear, broken, unfinished. When at last he stopped, the silence returned, heavier than before. He stood again, moving with the same careful caution, and placed something small beneath the mattress. I felt the weight shift under me, subtle but undeniable. I wanted so badly to open my eyes, to see what it was, to demand answers. But I knew if I did, I would lose the only advantage I had. His belief that I was asleep. Finally he lay back down beside me. The bed dipped under his weight. His breathing slowed, evening out as though nothing unusual had happened, as though he were just another man drifting into dreams. But I knew better. I had heard him. I had felt the hidden thing placed beneath me. I had seen the side of him he thought invisible. He was sure I was asleep. But I was awake. I stayed that way for hours, unmoving, unblinking behind closed eyes, my mind replaying every sound, every word, every action. By morning I would know what to do. By morning, I would decide whether to confront him or to keep pretending, gathering pieces of his secret until I could fit them all together. The night ended, but the silence between us did not. And as the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, one truth settled deep into me. I would never look at him the same way again.